just drink Coke, the road to obesity.
At Coke, we say we're woke. We sell drinks bad as smoke. China is our labor supplier that drives our stock price even higher. What the world knows today, obesity won't go away. Coca-Cola diabetes is here to stay. That's a real thing. What the world knows today, obesity won't go away. Diabetes is here to stay. That's a real thing. Coca-Cola.
We should.
Rated PG-13.
Hi, I'm George Lucas. In my past 40 years of motion picture making, no subject has so inspired me as this story that happened in August 2016. The world saw a 3-year-old boy on global networks, and it really touched my heart. So much so that I had to tell his story. His name is Omran Daknish. His story is real. It happened. I'm telling this story because millions of other children just like Omran are still being hurt in war-torn countries resulting from neglect, illness, and uncaring masses. We must remember them all. You won't be leaving the movie theater without a tear in your eyes. I hope you'll come.
Miranda Nish Arbasni.
Rated PG-13.
Decided to do another video now that I'm beginning to use YouTube some. I'm never going to post on CKO radio channel again. Maybe if I don't, then their algorithm won't be searching out the rest of what I posted there. There are some people who still subscribe, but I guarantee you, Rob Johnson, he's an algorithm in some term or another. He'll give all of his other friends who are socialists on YouTube the opportunities as much as possible to attack my other channels. And I'm going to do it as long as I'm able to. When they take the channel down, folks, I'm not going to try again to come back here again. I'm paying Vimeo now roughly $100 a year to post on their service. And as it turns out, Dailymotion never got payments from me for their service. They gave me a partnership, and then they put an algorithm up in the last 2 weeks, and it totally wiped out that one channel that I had started. I had paid about $100 to advertise myself through these streaming services where they guaranteed you get about 100 or so subscribers just from the fact you paid them to post your name and your channel on these advertising services for like Vimeo, through Dailymotion, Instagram, all these other places. They did get me 50 subscribers, but now that Dailymotion's taken down the channel, I've lost everybody that I might have obtained or gotten. So I decided I'm going to do this video again just to say to all of you who were fans of my original CNN rotating square, this is only the beginning of the socialists and what they're going to do. They're going to wipe out every person who speaks out against what they are doing, what they are destroying, and that's our individuality and our freedoms as American citizens. I've been saying this even when Barack Obama was president. I kept trying to tell everybody, Obama is more than just a president. Obama is nothing less than what the Bible calls the Antichrist, because he's behind Biden, he's behind Hillary Clinton, he's behind everything you're seeing that's going on across this country. The hacking of our elections, the manipulation of the votes. The next 2 days there's going to be governor runs in Virginia, in Tennessee, I think in Georgia. Other states are having governor races. Guarantee you, no matter who is the Republican candidate, they're going to do just like they did with the governor who was recalled in California. That's guy Gavin Newsom. They flipped all those votes because you had to have so many people who filed a petition to have him recalled in order for him to actually be on a recall ticket. And they say that everybody still voted for him as governor. That proves that California, Pelosi, Schumer, all the rest of them, they manipulated that recall in California, and he got reelected because they changed the votes just like they did when President Trump ran in November of last year. It's been 1 year now since President Trump was illegally removed out of office by the Socialists, by the Democratic Party. Now you're seeing all of the stuff that they're instigating. And most of the people who love Biden, who still love Biden, they say, oh no, that's just a conspiracy, that's not true. All of you that kept saying that to me, you're full of crap to say that, because now you've been proven this is not a conspiracy, it's happening. It's going on right now in this country. You cannot turn a blind eye to what's happening in this country now. It's happening, and it's right in front of your face. So if you want to continue to lie to yourself and try to convince everybody else, Biden is great, Obama is great. You heard him say that for 10 years about Obama. He never did nothing wrong. He was perfect. That's how they look at Biden. They still see him exactly the same way. He is great. He is doing everything in his power to give free money to illegals who don't pay a dime into our system. And folks, I know you think you can still make a difference by voting. If you don't see proof positive now of what they did when they got President Trump ousted, when they manipulated and they changed all of our votes, you're never ever going to understand it or see it. I will never vote in this country again for anything. State, county, city, or federal elections. I'm never going back. It's a farce, it's a fraud, and it's proven every single day now. But only person that can help our country, ladies and gentlemen, is God himself. God can change minds, he can change mindsets, he can change anything. If it's his will, it'll happen. We have been proven now we have no voice, we have no rights, we have nothing. And they're going to strip everything you have, your assets, your equity, every piece of property you own. This is the socialist mandate. You are nothing, you have no private ownership of nothing in your bank account, you have nothing, period. So if y'all think, oh, we're going to rise up and, yes, a revolution could change things. Really, a revolution could change things. The Black Lives Matter did it last year, and they got away with all the looting, all of the destruction of property, all of it. And now the United States as a nation has to do that same revolution. We have to stand up for ourselves, speak out, and say we are American patriots first. We're not stooges, we're not communists, we're not socialists. We are citizens, and we're proud patriots of this country. And anybody that can say, we don't care what happens, but we still have to honor our veterans, the veterans will be forgotten when they've stripped everything about our country away from us. That's the first thing they'll do. They'll bulldoze every one of those cemeteries that they have across this country for veterans, and that includes Arlington. Arlington Cemetery will probably become a high-rise building or a condominium complex. Those veterans out there in that Arlington Cemetery, they're going to eradicate those graves. That's the socialist mandates. Destroy what a country is, destroy its identity, and then rebuild it. And that's what Biden keeps saying, rebuild better. The better they're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is make America a Venezuela. What is Venezuela? 1,000,000% hyperinflation, the forced mandate of electric cars. Chavez just totally buried that country. It is now financially in ruin. It is a dictatorial tyrant culture in Venezuela. And people just laugh and say, oh no, that's not going to happen in America. It's happening, folks, right now. I've been trying to tell that to the people. That's why the YouTube algorithm stripped my channel, because I was saying those things. Now all of you are seeing it happen. You're seeing it right now. You can't deny it anymore. You can't say, oh, that's a conspiracy. You're a QAnon. Rob Johnson called me a QAnon. Guess what, Rob Johnson? I didn't even know what QAnon was until you said it. And then I started looking into it. First thing I know, I'm like, no, I'm not a QAnon. I'm not saying that President Trump's going to come back on April or May or whatever it was because QAnon said, oh, look at what happened in the past of American history. I never said that. I simply said they're going to strip away not only President Trump, they're going to strip away every American citizen's rights. And now they continually attack him, though he isn't president anymore, if you notice. They don't do that against Biden. They don't say, he left all of our American servicemen in Afghanistan to die, to be beheaded, to be executed, tortured, all the rest of it. Some people are speaking out, but the majority of them say, well, that's just their problem. They got to deal with that. Can't do nothing to help those people now. If we get this country back, folks, you ought to take Pelosi, Schumer, Schiff, Nader, Biden, Obama, Hillary Clinton, all the rest of those socialists, and exile them to Russia, exile them to Venezuela, say you go, you're not coming back, you're stuck there the rest of your lives, now you try to survive in what you made America. If we can get this country back, we ought to get those people up on charges of treason against the United States and against the Constitution, which they took an oath to God to uphold, to defend, and protect the Constitution of the United States. Those three things they have totally denied, totally rejected, totally turned against. You talking about Benedict Arnold's. Those people that represent the Democrats, all of them are communists. They're democratic socialists. And that means they ought to be exiled. Don't think they did that? Yes. In the 1940s, they sent men who were literally They were part of the organization of organized crime in this country. Al Capone. Man, there's so many of them. That's the only one I can come to right this second, but I'm saying those people, when they found out the kinds of things they were doing to this country, the government exiled them. They threw them out of this country. They said, you're not coming back to America. Santos Travacante, who was also a part of the mafia in Florida, they exiled him to Cuba, and only after the fact that Cuba fell to Castro did he come back to the United States. And you know, we ought to be doing those things to these socialists, to these communists. They've been doing this stuff to our country. But if you notice, every time a Democrat does something, nobody rises up, nobody says anything, nobody does anything. That means that the Democrats have a hold of everything about America, and they restrict us as citizens from doing anything. And we as the people are supposed to be who they serve. You, me, we're supposed to be the ones they serve. We don't serve the government. We serve God, and God gave government authority over us because He expected the government to protect the people's rights. Those that represent the Democratic Party aren't doing that. They are not protecting our interests. They're going to give millions of dollars to illegals and say Trump separated those families from their children. Guess what? Biden's doing it. Those few that he does have stopped at the border. Obama created those cages that they said, look what Trump did. He put those people in cages. Obama started that. It wasn't Trump. It was Obama. Did you hear them say, oh no, Obama's great. Obama's perfect. That's idiocy, folks. It's time to do something about it. Stop taking a blind eye, folks. Do something. Do something. You are the people of the United States, and you have the right to be represented. What they're doing to us right now is say you have no rights, you have no voice. Only those who we think should have those rights and those voices are the ones they're listening to. Blacks, homosexuals, Latinos, all the other kinds of individuals who up until now thought, well, we have no voice. And now they say, we got the voice. I say let them pay the taxes. That's what I say. We shouldn't pay taxes if we aren't being represented. That's called taxation without representation. You gotta speak out and tell them, hey, I don't like my kids being taught to be brainwashed by our government that's teaching and training them to abide by critical race theory. So what do they call the parent? Oh, you're a terrorist. You're making terrorist threats. It's like, no, I'm an American citizen. I'm supposed to be represented. You're supposed to function for me. You're not supposed to function for yourself. That's what needs to happen, folks. We need to say, we're taking this country back. We're taking it back from Black Lives Matter. We're taking it back from the homosexuals, the critical race fanatics, the perverts who think we got to destroy everything about what America was, its traditions, its values, everything. We got to take it back. We are the taxpayers. We are the people who represent this country because we are the people that said in the Constitution we are supposed to be the ones the government's supposed to be standing by and protecting. The government under a communist socialist regime is doing none of that. They're standing only for themselves and standing for certain groups who they think are entitled to representation, and the rest of us have nothing. That is America, folks, today. You've seen these videos I've posted where I say, in 1988 there was a TV miniseries. It was called America, Amerika. The Soviets took over America. They stripped away our freedoms, and there's a kid that went on TV in front of some kind of farce election for a president of the North American Union, and he says, we've got to erase the past. That's the lie. The lie is we have to somehow regain our values and our traditions. That's what socialists teach kids through critical race theory. And they were saying it 38 years ago. They were saying it a long time before any of this even came into being, and people just ignored it. As a matter of fact, now America is banned in the United States. You can't even find that DVD. You can't find that movie anywhere. Why? Because the socialists don't want you to know what they were saying. Now they strip it. They say you can't talk about that anymore. You can't say that. So I say, America, rise up and take back your country, and don't let them take it away from you without fighting. Because I'm telling you folks, that's why they say every time you mention something about violence, they say we can't let them think that way, because then they really could bring back America of what we had before, when President Trump was still president of this country. They don't want you to think that way, because they don't want the public to be totally outraged enough to do something. You didn't gain independence as a nation without fighting. We fought the British and we won because we didn't give up. Folks, that's what's got to happen again. The British are now the Socialist Democrats. They aren't representing us. They're not standing for our values. They aren't upholding our country. It's time, as Americans, we say, enough is enough. It's over. And say it to their face. Say it. They kept trying to tell us we were insurrectionists, we were domestic terrorists when those protesters went to the Capitol. They were infiltrated by Antifa, and Antifa caused all the violence. They caused all of the vandalism, look at all the people that were wandering in the Capitol. They just went in as citizens thinking, well, I guess we're allowed to go in. And then they said, oh no, those people are insurgents. They went in and blah, 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 blah. They didn't do anything. The Antifa got them in there. Who's Antifa? The Democrats. The Democrats were involved in all of the riots during President Trump's first run for the candidacy of the United States presidency. In 2016, there were picketers, there were people causing violent riots inside his campaigns, his rallies. Those were Antifa. CNN told it to the world. They said, these are Democrats. These are Antifa. They're financed and funded by the Democrats. And now, what did Joe Biden say? Come on, man. Come on, man. That ain't real. It's like, really? Let me say this in ending this video. Those who don't remember the past are forever condemned to repeat it. And what does that mean? It means if you don't remember what happened during the Holocaust, it's going to happen, and it is happening now. You got to stop it, folks, from continuing. You have got to stop this now. Otherwise, who knows how many millions of people will die. The Nazis are using coronavirus. The Nazis are still alive and well, and it's their philosophies being projected to the Socialist Democrats. We got to do something. We got to stop them. We got to stand up for ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, now, today. We got to do something. We got to stop it.